Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lisa and this is To Each Their Own Home, where I share 2 new videos a week on homemaking, homeschooling, and home decor. So if you're interested in any of those, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure your notification bell is turned on so you don't miss a new video. All right, so today's video, we are going to talk about the first day of homeschool for my freshmen. So we recently had our first day of school and it went well. I think it went well. I'm going to talk about the things that we did and how that day was structured. My goal for this first day was to really set the tone of what this freshman year is going to be like. So I wanted to discuss things like the classes that he would be taking in this first semester. I wanted to discuss and allow him to decide what order he wanted to complete his courses in. I wanted him to know up front that yes, this is going to be a lot more work than what he is typically used to. And I also wanted him to know that it's going to take him more time. So he really needs to focus and he will be working a lot more independently because that's my goal. Initially, I'll be there with him to help him through, but I really want him to be able to work pretty much like 90% independently in this class. Now, everything will not be independent. There are some courses that I do want to sit in with him to work with him through those courses because they're a little bit heavier and it will take a lot more brain power from him, and I don't want him to get frustrated and give up. So I will be sitting with him on some of his courses. So how this day was formatted was when we got started, I went ahead and wrote on the board all of the courses that he'd be taking, and then I gave him time to decide how he wanted to take those courses. Now, the courses that he will be taking, and this is in no particular order, just off of what I remember, but he will be taking a Bible course or devotional course, teaching him how to go about reading his Bible, not necessarily I do have a Bible curriculum, but this quarter we're not going to be going through that. We're going to be learning how to go about reading the Bible, how to study the Bible, and things like that. I want to teach that to him so that he can have that skill for a lifetime. So he'll be taking that course. He will also be taking, of course, his ELA. He will have math. He'll take Algebra 1. He will have science. He'll do biology. He will have social studies. He will be doing U.S. history. He will be doing American history, I should say, not just US, but American history. He will have intro to psychology. We're using Gather Round. He will have PE. He will be doing training. We actually got him a membership at the gym. He will also have a study hall period. And he'll have time for lunch as well, because right after school, he goes straight to football. And so I do want to set aside time for him to have his lunch. And then I want to set aside time for his study hall period. I will be giving him more of a time frame to complete his work only because his day really needs to be a bit more structured because he will have football every day after school. And he needs to complete his work before football can be started. And so football is pretty early, and so I need him to complete his work. So he will have like a time period. He still won't be starting school at 8 a.m., but he will have a time frame, and I will continue to push him along because I've noticed that he will drag out his courses and he will spend a lot more time on courses so that he doesn't have to complete other courses. To eliminate that this year, we will have a time frame on how much time he is to complete each course. So that's something that will be different only with him. That will not happen with my younger 2, but starting in high school, I feel like it's necessary for him. Now, every school is different, to each their own home, to each their own homeschool. This is our homeschool and this is how we're gonna go about things. And if you feel like it could potentially work for you, then by all means, do what works best for you. Is to decide what order he wanted to complete his courses in. And then I pulled out his planner and I introduced his planner. This year he will have a planner because I want him to be more organized. And so we went through his planner. I showed him we went through all the pages. I showed him how to organize things in his planner. I sat with him. I walked through his first day of planning everything out. And so we wrote down his schedule in his planner. Then we went through each course in the order that he wanted to complete them in. And we went through the courses, and I kind of set the tone for each of the courses. I let him know what the procedures were for each of the courses, what the expectations were for each of his courses, and how he can find what he needs to complete next. We went ahead and added tabs to each of his courses so that he could easily flip to the next lesson in his course. And I let him know that once he completed it, he needs to move his tab. Just as I do for Jason Savannah, he needs to, once he completes his lesson, then he would take his bookmark and he would move it to the next section in the book. So that's what we did. I went over every single book that he would be using. I went over his read alouds, all of that. Only for this time period though, not for the whole year, just for this time period, because I did not want to overwhelm him. As we went over everything, he had his notebooks for each of the courses, and I had him write his standard procedures in his notebook so that he knows exactly what is expected of him. After we went over all of his courses, the procedures, we made sure we had notebooks for each course. He understood that this is where this work goes and the expectations for him to complete his work. Then I showed him where his work belonged after he's done. So he will be working in a different area than Jason Savannah. It's necessary in our homeschool. So they will be in one space completing their work, and he will be in a separate space completing his work. And so while he's in a separate space, I am also keeping his work separate from theirs. I'm keeping all of his school supplies separate from theirs, so there is no confusion, and so we don't have any issues. I want to try as hard as I can to have as smooth of a homeschool year as possible. It's necessary to split up these, my elementary school and my high school kids in this homeschool. And so I did just that. I reorganized his schoolwork so that he knows where everything is. He needs to be in the know. He needs to know where everything is. He needs to know what the expectation is of himself. He needs to be able to have things readily available for him. And once I went over all of those things, for the courses that he's taken, we planned his schedule, we put it in his planner so he knows where it is. I showed him how to organize his work, where to put his work, how to turn in his work. We wrote down the procedures for the courses. We really took care of everything that he could need in this course, in these courses. And we placed them. I showed him where they would be. I got him his nice comfy chair. I tried to set the mood and the atmosphere for him. He can have music while he's doing school as long as it's not interrupting the other kids. So I really set the tone. He's not allowed to have his phone in class, but he can use his phone for music. So I do allow him to listen to his music. So setting his atmosphere in a way that he enjoys it, that he likes it. Not the atmosphere that I like, but the atmosphere that he likes, because this is his schoolwork. As we took care of everything, we took care of the courses he was going to take and all of the things that was involved in, you know, creating a successful environment for him, successful days for him, his expectations. So if he's a teenager, so if he's having a good day or if he's having a not so good day, he knows what's expected of him at all times. We wrote on the board something that would show me what he's gotten done. So if he's in a mood where he doesn't want to talk and he's just having a day, on the board, he should go about and erase what he's done so far as he's completing everything so that I am always in the know. Now, after we got all that taken care of, I did go ahead and give him work. Very minimal. It was very minimal schoolwork for the day, but I did go ahead and give him work for the day. He completed it, and then he knows what to do with his work once he's done with it so that I can go ahead and inspect what I expect from him before he can get his phone to communicate with his friends and all of that. I need to inspect his work. And so that's something that has to stay in place, because if it does not, if you give them an ounce of flexibility, they will take it and they will run with it. So this is what is expected. And that's pretty much it. Just making sure that he completed his work. Once he was done with that, then he and my husband went ahead and started studying his football routes and, all of that jazz. He started going to football, talk about football, preparing himself for football, and then he went off to his sport. And so that was our first day of school, and it worked out really well, and I'm very excited. What I did after that was I grabbed my lesson plan, and my lesson plan is not like your lesson plan book, like a planner, but it is my own mom planner or my own mom notebook where I write all the lessons that I've learned for the day. If if I didn't, you know, if I didn't have anything come up, then I won't write anything. But anything that I learned about my kids, I go ahead and I write that down so that I can make a mental note, anything that they need or anything that they need me to, you know, get additional resources for, all of that. I went ahead and I wrote that down. And so what I do in my planner is I write down what they're completing. We're gonna have a weekly meeting on Mondays to discuss what his week is going to look like, what he's gonna get completed in that week, you know, all the expectations, very specific information. If he has a paper due, we're gonna talk about what is the expectation for that paper, all of that. So that'll be on Mondays. So his Mondays may be a little bit lighter than his other days, because we're gonna take like 30 minutes every Monday to fill out his planner so that he knows exactly what he's completing. And so that's our plan moving forward. I will of course update you guys and let you guys know how that's going and how things are working for us, but that's what our plan is, and that's how I plan on being successful. And that is all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for being here. Until next time, take care and have a beautiful day. Bye.